Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lano, lead the prayer.
Okay, let's bow our head into the presence of God. Lord, thank you for all this day that you always protected us and our family, and give the strength for our demonstration teacher, which is Mr. Adid, and we learn a lot about our topic. Amen.
Okay, so before we start, we have our house rules that you need to remember. First, type yes in the chat box if my voice audio is clear. Okay. Second, open your cameras. Third, always keep your microphone off to avoid unnecessary noises. Fourth, if you have any questions or you want to answer, just click the raise hand icon and wait your teacher to call your name. And last but not the least, pay attention in the discussion and avoid unnecessary actions. So any questions with regards to our house rules?
Answer.
Okay. So as I remember, I did not give you any assignment. So since we do not have assignment, let us recall our topic yesterday. So what do you remember about the last topic that we have discussed? Anyone?
Sir,
Okay, Mr. Ilano.
about mean, median, and mode.
Okay, very good. Since we discussed about mean, median, and mode, how do we get mean and the median?
Sir.
Okay, Mr. Piano.
In finding the mean, it is the average, so we just need to add all the given values, then divide it to the total number or the frequency. In finding the median, you can arrange it into ascending to descending order and then find the middle value.
Okay, very good. How about getting the mode?
Sir.
Okay, Miss Olivo.
For getting the mode, put the numbers in order from the latest to greatest and count how many times each number occurs.
Okay, very good. So any questions with regards to mean, median, and mode?
None po.
None, sir.
Okay, very good. So to let you energize before the discussion, let's have an icebreaker. This activity is called Lost in the Desert, where you will imagine yourself in the middle of the desert, walking with no specific direction, and an angel from heaven came next to you and gives you a chance to wish one material that is important to you. What would it be and why? So who wants to share first? No worries, all your answers are correct. Anyone who wants to share first?
Ako, sir.
Okay, Mr. Piano.
Ang wish ko is pocketbook since I'm alone na nga dun sa desert. So, I need something na makakapag-occupy nung time ko and yung interest ko, which is pocketbooks.
Okay, very good. Another one. Last two.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kapada.
Infinite supply of water.
Okay, explain why.
Because in the question, I am in the middle of the desert with no specific direction, so I need that infinite supply of water in order to survive until I escape that desert.
Okay, very good. And the last one, who wants to share?
Sir,
Mr. Ilano?
compass.
Okay, explain why, sir.
Because our house was in the north, so if I lost in the desert, then the compass was in the north, and I will walk through the north.
Okay, very good. All your answers are correct. Because at some point in our lives, we need to use our fast thinking skills in order to solve a problem, especially in real life situations. Okay? So to give you an insight about our topic for today, let's have a pre-activity. This activity is called Match Me In. Okay? There are a list of problems or mathematical symbols and each possible answers. All you need to do is to match each of the possible answers to the questions that is equivalent to that answer. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Number 1, who wants to try? Problem number 1 says 7 is added to the sum of 5/6 and 6/7. Okay, who wants to try number 1?
Ako, sir.
Okay, Mr. Parulan.
The answer is 8 and 1/4 or 8.25.
Let's check. Oh, it's okay. Mr. Parulan got a mistake. Okay, how about number 2?
Sir,
Okay, Iswiko.
letter C po, 9 and 5/14 or 9.36.
Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. So how about number 3?
Sir,
Again?
sir.
Okay, Mr. Ilano.
8 and 1/4 or 8.25, letter A.
Okay, very good. So number 4?
Sir.
Okay, Mr. Piano.
4 and 19/40 or 4.48.
Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. And the last, no other than the other option, and the last option is 28 and 5/7 or 28.71. So this activity, based on activity, what is the first thing you did in order to solve these problems? I mean, what is your first step to solve the problem?
Sir,
Okay, Mr. Piano.
identifying the operations. And
Okay, very good. In other words, we must understand first what is the problem. Okay? So now let's proceed to our main discussion. Our topic for today is all about solving addition and subtractions of fractions using routine and non-routine problems. Okay? So when we say non-routine problems, it is a type of problem that can easily be solved using at least one arithmetic operation. When we say non-routine problems, it is a type of problem that requires analysis, manipulation, or derivation of the formulas and the like. So in other words, routine problems uses one operation only. Okay? While the non-routine problems, it uses two or more operations. But in non-routine problems, it requires analysis because this type of problem is more complex compared to routine problems. Okay? Is it clear, students? Any
Yes, sir.
questions? Okay, very good. So now let's proceed to the phrases of addition. These are the list of phrases used for addition. Plus, the sum of, increased by, and more than. While in subtraction, difference of, diminished by, and reduced by. So if you saw these phrases in the problem, therefore we can conclude what operation shall we use. Okay? So let's have an example here. So example number 1, add 5 and 1/2 centimeter, 7 and 3/5 centimeter, and 3 and 1/4 centimeter respectively. So anyone from the class who can identify what type of problem is this? It is a routine problem or non-routine problem?
routine problem po.
Okay, why? Why routine problems?
Kasi kumbaga po may process na siya, meron namang yung process kung paano mo siya isosolve.
Okay, very good. Because the problem says that add these three numbers, so we need to use one operation only, which is addition. So in adding these three numbers, we will find first the LCD. So how do we get the LCD? The multiples of its denominator, okay? 2, 5, and 4. All right. The first similar number will appear. That is our LCD, which is 20. So add 5, 7, and 3, the whole numbers first, and use LCD. 20 divided by 2 is equals to 10, times 1 is equals to 10. Therefore, we got 10. 20 divided by 5 is equals to 4, times 3 is equals to 12. Okay? Then the last term, 20 divided by 4 is equals to 5, times 1 is equals to 5. So let's just add the three numbers in the numerator. Therefore, we have 15 over 20, 15 and 27 over 20, or simplify, we get 16 and 7 over 20. Therefore, if we add these three numbers, the answer will be 16 and 7 over 20. So any questions, class? Any question, class?
None, sir.
None.
Okay, so now let's proceed to example number 2. Okay, 18 is diminished by the sum of 7 3/4 and 4 2/3. So again, anyone who can identify what type of problem is this? Sorry, anyone?
Sir?
Okay, Mr. Ilano.
Sir,
Okay,
non-routine problem.
okay. Why non-routine problem? Mr. Ilano, are you there? Okay, anyone who wants to volunteer to explain why this problem is non-routine problem?
Sir, because we need to understand the problem and to plan and to solve and by checking of it.
Okay, very good. In other words, this problem shows that we need to use two operations because the problem says 18 is diminished, which represents two subtractions, and by the sum of these two numbers, 7 3/4 and 4 2/3, which is addition. So we will use two operations. Okay. So again, the problem says the sum of 7 3/4 and 4 2/3. That is the first thing we need to do, to find the sum of these two numbers. So again, finding these two numbers, we will find the LCD first. Again, take note, class, if the denominator are not the same, we will do this kind of process. But if their denominators are the same, we will just copy it. Okay? So the LCD is 12. Add the whole numbers, 7 plus 4, we get 11. So we will use the LCD into first term. 12 divided by 4 is equals to 3. Times 3, we get 9. 12 divided by 3 is equals to 4. Times 2, we got 8. Then we just add again the numerators. 9 plus 8 is equals to 17. Or simplify it, we get 12 and 5 over 12. So since we have already our sum of these two numbers, therefore we will subtract it to 18 because it says that the sum of these two numbers, we need to subtract it to 18. So we will reduce 18 by putting 12 over 12 so that we can solve it more easier. So 17 minus 12 is equals to 5. Then 12 minus 5 is equals to 7. Then copy the denominator. Okay? So therefore, our answer is 5 and 7 over 12. Any questions?
Answer.
Okay.
None, sir.
So now, let's proceed to steps in solving our problem. Okay, first, understand. In this first step, we need to identify first what are the given, okay? And what operation shall we use? The second step is plan. Okay, since you have already since you already understand the problem, we need to plan. Okay. Then third, solve. Since you already have the plan, conduct your plan or solve it. Okay. Then the last step is check. So example, Josephine rode her bike for 2/5 of a mile on Saturday and 3/5 of a mile on Sunday. How many miles did she ride altogether? So our first step is understand. We need to identify first the givens. Okay? Our given is 2/5 of a mile on Saturday and 3/5 of a mile on Sunday. So the problem asking Josephine total miles ride. Okay. Then the second step is plan. What operation shall we use? Because we will use addition because of the word altogether. Altogether means summarizing or getting the sum. Okay. Then third, solve. Okay. 2/5 plus 3/5 is equals to, again, since they have the same denominators, we will copy the denominator and add the numerators. 2 plus 3 is equals to 5/5 or 1. So therefore, we will check first again. All right. So therefore, Josephine rode 1 mile altogether from Saturday and Sunday. So any questions? Any questions, students?
None, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now let's proceed to example number 2. A warehouse has 12 and 1/10 meters of tape in one area of the building and 8 and 3/10 meters of tape in another part. How much tape does the warehouse have in all? So again, let's understand first what are the givens. 12 and 1/10 meters of a tape in one area and 8 and 3/10 meters of a tape in another side. So again, plan. What operation shall we use? So since the phrase here have in all, which means total, therefore we will use addition operation. Then solve it. 12 and 1/10 over 8 and 3/10. We will add these two numbers since they have the same denominators again. We will just copy it and add these whole numbers. 12 plus 8, we get 24, and 1 plus 3, the numerators is 4. 20 for 4 and over 10, simplify it, we get 20 and 2/5. So let's check. All right. So therefore, we can conclude that the warehouse has 21 and 2/5 of tape in all. So any questions, students? Any questions with regards to this example?
None, sir.
Answer.
Okay. So try this. Instructions. For this instruction, solve the following real-life situation problem. Solve the following real-life situation problem and identify whether each of the problem is a routine problem or non-routine problem. So you have 3 minutes to solve and identify and type it in our chat box, your answers. Okay? So your timer starts now. Okay, are you done, students? Just type your answers in our chat box. Okay, your time up. What are your answers? Did you already drop it in the chat box?
Sir? Sir?
Okay, Mr. Lano.
For number 1 po is 8 and 13 over 20. And the problem is routine.
I'm sorry. Your microphone.
Sir,
Okay.
8 and 13 over 20, that's the answer of the many cups flour will be needed in all. And then the problem was a routine.
Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. So the answer is 8 and 13 over 20. And this is a routine problem since we use one operation only. So how about number 2?
Sir,
Okay, Mr. Fiano.
2 and 17 over 20.
Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. So therefore, the uncooked rice is 2 and 17 over 20. So very good. How about number 3?
Sir?
3 over 10, sir.
Okay. And what type of problem is this?
Non-routine problem po.
Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. It is a non-routine problem because we use 2 operations. We find first the sum of 2 numbers, which is Catherine gave the part of the cake, which is the 2/5 and 3/10. Then we subtract it to 1. Okay, the answer is 3 over 10. Okay, for your assessment, read each of the following real-life situation problem carefully. Write your name, example Jerome, if the problem is a routine problem. And write your surname, example Alib, if the problem is a non-routine problem. Okay, copy and answer and use a yellow pad. Kindly take a screenshot. Okay, are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will post this to our LMS account, to your LMS, together with your assignment. Kindly take a screenshot of it. Okay, are you done?
Done, sir.
Okay. So before we leave, before to end this discussion, we have a quote here from one of the most influential in terms of mathematics. So intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them, from Albert Einstein. So that's all for today, class. I hope you learned something from this meeting. Thank you and God bless.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.